9th August 2026, we observe the International Day of the World Indigenous Peoples. This year, the theme is on Indigenous midwifery, a practice that is fundamental to the survival, cultural continuity, and self-determination of Indigenous people. Traditional midwives, healers, and medicine women occupy a central position in the society of Indigenous peoples. Their knowledge, transmitted across generations, form part of a broader governance system that support reproductive health, childbirth, and community well-being. The attack on Indigenous midwifery was part of a calculated wide objective to wipe out Indigenous people as distinct nations. This is because Indigenous women bodies and Indigenous people ancestral land remain the two primary targets for those seeking to erase the culture and the very existence of Indigenous people. To that end, under colonial rule, the practice of Indigenous people relating to pregnancy and childbirth were frequently criminalized and dismissed as primitive or savage. This historical dismantling of traditional knowledge has severely disrupted the intergenerational maternal health system of Indigenous people. Historically, the prohibition of Indigenous midwifery, the implementation of forced sterilizations, and the establishment of forced boarding school were elements of one broader strategy aimed at the erasure of Indigenous peoples as nations. Today, this legacy persists as structural discrimination within modern healthcare system. Indigenous women are routinely facing racism, their dismissal of their pain, and a denial of cultural appropriate care. These barriers result in disproportionately high maternal mortality rate and reduced access to essential health services for Indigenous women and girls. On September 23rd this year, I will present a comprehensive report to the Human Rights Council, overviewing how states have been addressing the violation of Indigenous women's and girl reproductive rights across regions. This report revealed that these violations have not been fully remedied by many countries, and they persist in contemporary form, mostly driven by militarization, systemic discrimination, negative cultural belief and practices, environmental contamination, extractive industry, as well as conservation. In this report, I call upon states, first, to acknowledge and address the historical ongoing violations of Indigenous women and girls' reproductive rights. Second, to institutionalize intercultural health systems that recognize and support Indigenous midwife and their traditional knowledge as pillar of Indigenous people overall cultural existence. And third, to ensure that all health policies, environmental regulation are developed with the full participation, effective consultations, and up to standard free, prior and informed consent of Indigenous peoples. In closing, I want to remind everyone that protecting Indigenous women and girl reproductive rights is essential to the collective survival of Indigenous peoples as a nation. I thank you.